name is Lesya, and you're watching the BAYFashion TV Achiever Series. Today we're joined by Michael Castellano, the CEO and founder of engajer. Hey Michael, thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you for having me.
We're so curious to learn, how did you come up with the idea of engajer, and what is engajer?
Engajer is one of those products that really came from solving a customer's problem. So prior to founding the company, I had a previous company where we did video production and website development as a multimedia services company. And I was meeting with a customer, and he had this brand new program that he wanted to go out and sell. But his problem was he didn't have enough resources to hire and train a sales team. So he thought about maybe going out there and selling it himself, but he was extremely busy running the day-to-day operations of the company. So he was kind of caught in between a rock and a hard place.
So what did you do? Well,
he met with me, and I tried with everything that I knew to solve his problem. You know, we tried throughout ideas like a website, SEO, YouTube video, and nothing seemed to work. Nothing seemed to actually fit what he needed. Mm-hmm. So he kind of got frustrated with this whole process, and I remember we were up at his office, and he had the brochure of his program, and he kind of crumpled it up and he put it on his desk, and he said, "Darn it, I just need to clone myself."
And that's when you came up with the idea.
Yeah, that was the spark of the idea, because what I realized was that what he really wanted to do was he wanted to take what he knew about the program, the conversation about it, and answer questions the way he would answer them, and talk about it the way he would talk about it. And he wanted to send that to everybody who was a potential customer.
Right.
And with engajer, because of how we do interactive video, you're able to do that. You're able to clone your best salesperson on their best day. Key component to engajer is the technology platform. We have a very robust analytics platform that helps any salesperson send out campaigns and then track which of those campaigns were the most successful. So every single one of our customers and their salespeople, they log on at engajer.com under the login button, and they're taken to their own dashboard system. And through that dashboard system, that's where they send out the campaigns. We also have features that will allow account managers to set up sub-accounts so that they can keep an eye on, okay, which of my salespeople are really sending things out, which of them are very active at promoting the company and sending that engajer out to prospective customers. And they can look in and they can say, oh, you know, this salesperson hasn't really sent out a lot in the last week. Better go have a talk with him and see what's going on. So, so this system also integrates with most major CRM. So Salesforce, Sugar, Zoho, Pipeline Deals, so that if the salesperson has their leads in CRM, you can easily import those leads into engajer and send engajer out to those leads.
How are you different from any other video? Like, say, can I just make maybe a YouTube video and send it out? Like, how engajer would be different?
There's an inherent limitation to linear video. And linear video is every single video you've pretty much seen. It's YouTube videos, it's videos on websites. Linear videos play from start to stop, and that's it.
Right.
So the inherent limitation is either you have to make a very long video to cover all the major points and all the different information for all the various different audiences that you want to reach, and that gets boring, and nobody's going to sit through a 15-minute long video, right? Yeah. Or you keep the video very, very short. So it's pithy and it's fun, but you don't really get to educate a customer very well. So that's sort of the limitation. You have to sacrifice. With interactive video, we chop all the content up into short 30-second video bursts, little modules, and we put it in a sort of a hierarchical decision tree. Do you remember the old Choose Your Own Adventure storybooks, where you'd flip through different pages if you wanted to choose this adventure or that adventure?
Yeah.
That's how engajer works. That's how interactive video works. So the recipient of an engajer, they select what they want to talk about next, and that'll pull up a new video. So that's the difference between linear video and interactive video. And yes, the name engajer, that's more engaging. Because if I just sit here and I just talk at you, that's not very engaging.
No, not at all.
But if I pose a question and then you tell me what you want to talk about next, and then I talk about that, that's way more engaging. And that's how with Engager, we're able to keep audiences engaged way longer than any other form of media. On average, our end recipients spend around more than 5 minutes inside of an Engager, which blows most other stuff out of the water.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And then can they follow up with the Engager person directly, or who is on the video?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So a company has choice. It can either be their CEO, it can be their best salesperson, or it can be a talent. They can hire someone to represent and be the face of their company.
And you guys present, like you have the pool of those models who can be...
We do, actually. So we've put together two really neat things. One is we've put together a network of video producers all over the world. So no matter where our customer is, if they want it to be their CEO or their salesperson, we can do local filming. If they want it to be a talented Engager host, we have models, we have men, women, all different sorts of people you can choose from to represent the face of your company.
So once I receive the Engager and I answer all the interacted with it, then I want to talk to that salesperson. Can I do that?
Yes. Yeah, so that's the end goal, right? You want to send your virtual salesperson out to as many people as possible, and then after people have interacted with that, we actually have built an entire proprietary analytics system that tracks every single Engager sent to every single person. So we can tell the real salesperson who's looked at the Engager, how long they spent, which modules they went down. We call that their corridor of interest. You know, where did they spend their time? What were they interested in? And that's really useful to a salesperson. Right. We can tell them if the recipient shared their Engager with maybe their boss or their colleague or somebody else.
Their girlfriend or boyfriend.
Anybody. And then we can also show that salesperson what that person did. Right. So they get all of this analytics, and then our proprietary algorithm will rank all of the recipients based on their depth of engagement, so the salesperson never has to guess. They're always following up with the people who are educated, interested, and ready to buy.
And can I optimize my Engager based on like the episode that got the most interest? Because
our analytics show everything, you can start to use your analytics to see things like which of my modules are the most popular, where do I get the most drop off. You know, if people keep coming to a particular module and then leaving, you might want to rethink that message. Right. You know, maybe you see that you got tons of drop off when you click on the pricing module. So maybe you have to rethink how you talk about your pricing, or maybe you have to actually rethink your pricing. But you know, because it's choose your own adventure, you know, think about this. It's always giving information that's relevant and apropos to the user, because they're self-selecting what they want to talk about. Right. So it's always a very personalized, customized experience. So what's your vision then for Engager? Like say 5 years from now, do you see everyone having maybe 3 salespeople and then a million Engagers? Engager makes a salesperson close more deals at a lower cost. So actually, some companies might even hire more salespeople. This actually might even justify hiring more salespeople, because think about it. If you can deliver your best sales message, then even with a junior salesperson, they can become rock stars. Right. Right? So, so depending on what that company wants to achieve, they can choose. 5-year vision, I would say, you know, there really is a whole massive industry that's coming. The same way that the personal computer industry came, the same way that social network as a massive movement came, there's another movement just about, you know, 2 to 5 years out, and that's virtual. That's when people finally start to really clone themselves, clone their personas, virtualize themselves, and that's everybody. That's salespeople. That's people running for political office. We did an Engager for somebody running for office in Minnesota, and it was a virtual interactive conversations with voters and people donating on why they should vote for him and why they should donate.
Well, that's awesome.
So, and this also applies to artists. We have engagers with singers and dancers and people who want a way to virtually connect with their fan base. Not only connect with them, but through Engager, we actually have e-commerce modules. So we did an Engager for a very talented guy. His name is Todrick Hall. He's a YouTube sensation. He has 38 million video hits on YouTube. He's actually using Engager as a way to fundraise for his next music album that he wants to produce. So he's having this virtual interactive conversation with his fans, and then he's asking them through the Engager to contribute. And if they contribute, then they'll get a copy of the CD when it comes out. So we actually have this sort of crowdsourcing application as well.
Sounds like video is almost the most interactive format out there. Do you think that anything will come out that will be even more interactive?
Where do we go after interactive video? I don't know. Maybe it's interactive holograms. Maybe one day we get to the point when I send you an Engager, the holographic you pops up on your iPad, and maybe that's the next generation. And maybe we'll pioneer it. I don't know.
But nothing will ever replace the face-to-face. Do you agree?
I'm a big believer in the face-to-face. I'm a big believer in the handshake. The reason why we came out with Engager was so that people can do more of that with the right people. See, if you're a salesperson and you're spending all day on a telephone cold calling people while they're busy at work, at home, that's a terrible use of their time. Salespeople don't like cold calling. Nobody likes to receive a cold call. It's very inefficient. With Engager, he doesn't have to do that. With Engager, all he has to do is track the analytics, see who's interested, and if somebody's genuinely interested, then he can meet with them. And the quality of that physical meeting will be much more likely to end in closed business. It'll be a much more meaningful conversation because you're talking to somebody who's really, really interested. And by the time you meet, all of the preliminary information is already covered. So now you're talking buying questions and you're getting right to the close. I obviously have the Engager about Engager.
And maybe
so
you can show us a little bit.
We call him Virtual Michael. So while I'm sitting here talking to you, Virtual Michael is having a consistent and effective sales message with thousands of people around the world. So they receive the Engager about Engager, and I start talking to them. That's Virtual Michael. And Virtual Michael can basically answer all of their questions, take them through everything. And this right here is the actual Engager platform. And we integrate with Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, so it's really easy to share. And at the end of every single video module, we'll pose a question. So I say, what would you like to explore first? And the respondent can say, well, tell me about the benefits of Engager. And then now I'm in conversation with them. So I say, well, there's tons of benefits. Before I can tell you about which benefit, tell me first, who are you? Which of the following best describes you?
Let's say I'm a CEO of marketing.
Okay, so we'll click I'm a CEO. And then I'm going to say that, well, as a CEO, there's lots of benefits for Engager. How about we talk to you about how Engager is going to help clone your best salesperson? So you click on that one. And then I start talking to you again.
Picture your best salesman on his best day. What if you had the opportunity to clone him? What if you had the chance to launch a fleet of super salesmen who you could send anywhere, anytime?
It's a lot of virtual reality here.
It's a lot of virtual Michaels, and you know, it's funny. This is my mother's worst nightmare. There's like 20,000 of me, but you know, it's great because Virtual Michael, he's always on point. He's always on his best day, delivering the most effective sales message. Never asks for a raise, never gets sick, and you know, he doesn't need an expense card. So it's kind of perfect.
Very efficient.
Yeah.
But if I were to talk to Michael about his taste in fashion, would I talk to his Engager or the real Michael?
No, that you'd have to talk to me on those subjects.
I know you're from the East Coast. What do you think about the difference in how people dress on the East Coast and on the West Coast?
East Coast, it was always khaki pants, blazer, Oxford shirt, and a tie. That doesn't really work well out here. People will look at you funny. So, you know, out here, I think for startups, you have to dress appropriately for what you're doing. You know, if you're a founder, I think you should always be wearing your company's shirt. It's free marketing, it's free advertising. You got to be proud of your company. You got to, yeah. You know, this is the Engager orange T-shirt. I think out here the jeans, company shirt, and maybe a blazer. I do the sweater. You know, I think that's appropriate. Anytime I'm doing something public, I always dress the same way that I'm dressed in the Engager about Engager. And I do that for a very specific reason. I do that because I'm trying to help people understand that you're taking yourself and you're cloning yourself virtually. Right. So, for instance, when we were at Dreamforce, I was presenting and, you know, I was wearing this, and then virtual Michael was up on the screen wearing the same thing so people could understand, oh, I get it. This is real life, that's virtual life, right? And you use what you're wearing to help your startup. Whatever that means for your startup, you use it as a tool. Entrepreneurs need to be very resourceful, and everything they do needs to be promoting their company or helping them get to that next level somehow. If you're in sales, you got to dress sharp. You know, our people, when they go out and they meet with big customers like IBM, we have customers like Fujitsu, Geico, Sugar CRM. You know, when you're out there and you're meeting with corporate clients, you got to dress sharp. Not too formal, but sharp.
Michael, thank you so much for joining us today. It was great talking to you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Everyone, you are watching the BAYFashion TV, joined today by Michael Castellano, the CEO and founder of Engager. Thanks so much.